this is the weight graph in Garmin Connect as recorded by, first of all, automatically imported over MyFitnessPal data, but also in this last period, in the last 3 months, in or by the Garmin Index S2, which is the body composition scale Garmin offers, and that's the newest edition of it. We can see that it also calculates averages. First of all, you can click these multiple items, so you could potentially also see BMI, body fat, skeletal muscle mass, basically all of these 6 metrics that are also seen here. It then also, for the period which you select, in this case the year, so this is not the year, but this is the last 12 months, it then calculates the averages. We can see that the average for my weight, for example, has been 78.3. So what I can see here is now, if I increase this average, then I'm probably doing worse than the average of the last year. And if I decrease my weight, assuming again this is not muscle mass increase, but mostly body fat increase or decrease, then I'm probably doing better. Now we could even take we could take a look at body fat, which in terms of the incentive vector it provides would be even more useful compared to the weight, because the weight can also be muscle mass. So you could also reduce the weight, for example, by just fasting, which might also impact muscle mass. Or you can also reduce the weight by just not exercising but eating less. So there would be multiple methods. Whereas with body fat, it is a little tricky. It is a little bit more tricky, one could say. One could only get to a certain body fat level if one basically has either very little absolute body fat or also then increased muscle mass. So there would be 2 ways to decrease. So if one has basically a given lean mass, then if one wants to, now, if one has, apart from muscle as well as fat, a given mass, then one could or increase body fat by 2 ways. Either by, so let's say we want to decrease body fat. Then one could do this by either having more muscle mass with the same amount of absolute fat, or having less body fat at the same amount of muscle mass. And so it seems to be the case that both optimizations that result out of this are more useful, which is why I began to focus on body fat. But unluckily for me, Garmin only offers one goal, which is the weight goal. Whereas on Samsung Health, for example, out of 3 different options, you can select 1, 2, or 3. And these options are a skeletal muscle mass target, a weight target, as well as a body fat target. But then if you have 3 out of these, then it already becomes quite a complicated calculation, because how much skeletal muscle mass can I actually gain if I have a certain weight goal and a certain body fat goal? I don't know. So what I've been doing, or what I've been thinking more, is I now take kind of body fat, as it also seems to be the thing that is somewhat reasonably measured. Skeletal muscle mass, for example, for me varies between 30 and 40, depending on the device I measure on. The weight also goes up and down with water fluctuations, so maybe the average body fat might be the thing that can be somewhat easily measured, but also results in a quite useful incentive vector. Either increase muscle mass, which is not that easy, or reduce body fat, which is also not that easy.